So how does teacher training tie into the Wright Institute? Well, what we first do is we share and network and we work together as a team. The teachers that are teaching the Level 1 course, they talk about strategies and things that are important to them and that have been effective. What's worth it, what's not, what was extra, what did they need for sure. Then they talk about how the previous unit went and then how they should go about implementing their next unit. As well, what we need to do is we need to score. If you look at the right rubric in the Tiempos de Paz packet, you need to score first the rough draft of that unit, not the final draft, because that's the one that's been made perfect by the students. That won't give you any input. You need your rough draft score so that you can see, wow, okay, students on their rough draft in the first semester, they all got 3s. That's pretty good, 2s and 3s, and then they were able to get 4s and 5s, maybe even 6s on their final draft. But maybe in the second semester, they got 3s and 4s, and so on their rough draft. And so you can see that students themselves are beginning to comprehend what it is to write a 5-paragraph essay. What is an introductory sentence? How you break down the rubric in the Wright Institute really breaks down each part of the essay so that students are able to really understand that while my structure wasn't so well in the body of my composition, but I had a good conclusion, so I need to work on this part of the body. And they're able to really get specific answers to how they can do better for their final draft. And of course, we need to continue to get a lot of training for our next unit. And then eventually we work together as a team, once everyone's been trained on all the units, work on our scoring and practice, but then also on our networking and sharing on best practices within those units. A wonderful story about a student is that when they came from ELD and Spanish for Spanish speakers and they went into a regular English class, they got back a score of B- good on their essay. The student was like, what is B- good? I don't understand that. Did I have a good introductory sentence? Was the body of my paragraph good, or the body of my essay good? What about my conclusion? So they went back to their Wright teacher, got a rubric that was on the specific genre that they had been writing on, took it to their English teacher and said, could you please fill this out to go along with my essay? I don't understand what be good is. Please give me a little bit more information so that I know where to improve for my final draft. When students are able to think that precisely about the work that they're doing in their classes and on their essays, you know that they have a good understanding of what it takes to be successful. So that's a good lesson for us as teachers on how we need to continue to support our students and our fellow staff on campus to help educate them with what works best, especially for our English learners or our Spanish for Spanish speakers. The Wright Institute really is a partnership through the San Diego County Office of Education. We work together with them and they give us continuous support to make our classes better, to make the work we do with English learners and Spanish for Spanish speakers better. We get a lot of support through our district office, through our site principals, through our English departments, through our Spanish departments, and it really is a catalyst of reform. It gets us to think about where we are now and how we need to change for the better of our students. Just like I mentioned previously about the rubric and, wow, writing the old way that B equals good or you got a C, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Something that I need to stress as well is an amazing story that I had with one of my students. Elizabeth was one of my students, and she didn't do well her first year with me, but her second year she started really turning it around, and I think the difference was I started using the Wright units the second year I had with her. And she came to my classroom one period in the middle of second period, and she knocked on my door, and she brought her English paper to me, and she said, "Mrs. Rasmussen, this is the first time I have ever gotten above an F on an English paper, and it's because I used all the information that you gave me in Spanish for Spanish speakers, and I used it with structure and how to write a good introductory sentence and all of the parts of an essay that she learned so specifically through the write units that we used." And she said she had never done better than an F ever, and she had a C+ on her paper. And we hear story upon story upon story like this that have to do with our students. So I can't stress as a teacher how rewarding it is, especially with things like the California high school exit exams, where students, all they need to know is the structure of how to write a good essay. We can get them the English language, but if they can learn the structure of the writing component of the essay in their primary language, then we're almost won the entire battle. And as you saw previously by our Casey data, that it is really paying off. Students, our RFET population, those are our redesignated English learners, and our EL population, they're doing pretty good on the California high school exit exam. Thank you for taking the time to learn about our Spanish for Spanish Speakers program. For more information and documents that support our courses, please visit my website and take the time to view the other short videos in this series. Adios!